some of his paintings.
It's incredible. It's really amazing to see. So it's a few minutes after, so let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today for our last panel and what's been an incredible day of advocacy, and invite you and welcome you to Health, Art, and Activism, a conversation with Gil Vasquez of the Keith Haring Foundation. The mission of the Keith Haring Foundation is to sustain, expand, and protect the legacy of Keith Haring, his art, and ideals. The foundation supports causes related to health, specifically HIV/AIDS, as well as his causes in arts and the education. The Haring Foundation is charged with maintaining and protecting his artistic legacy, as well as providing grants that fund issues close to Keith's heart. As many of you know, the Keith Haring Foundation provided a $2.5 million grant, the largest private gift ever made to Callen-Lorde, and the largest donation made by the Haring Foundation in their 3 decades of operation to create the Keith Haring Nurse Practitioner Postgraduate Fellowship in LGBTQ Health, a first of its kind program in the nation to train future leaders in LGBTQ health. Gil has served on the foundation's board for 31 years, first as vice president, later as president, and now as acting director. Gil was a close friend of Keith and met him back in 1988 at the age of 18. And today, Gil is here to share some of Keith's influential work as they relate to Keith's own activism and social issues of the era. So welcome, Gil.
Thank you for the lovely welcome. So I'd like to share with you some photos of some of Keith's work. I'm not sure if I am sharing at this moment.
Yep, we can see it here.
Okay, great. And these are some of the works that Keith did, you know, really speaking to his activism. Crack is Whack wall, which is famously on 128th Street on a handball court in Harlem. That is still today, you know, at the time Keith painted it, it was a dilapidated park and really was not used. Since then they've named the park after Crack is Whack. It's actually Crack is Whack Park. The photo that you're seeing here, I actually took at the tender age of 18. This was in Barcelona, and he was doing an AIDS mural. And as you can see, you know, there were kids always around him, and he just loved interacting with them. And it was just a part of who he was. This is a poster of something that he did. It was an anti-nuclear rally in Central Park in 1982. And he made about 10,000 of these and gave them out and signed them and just handed them out. Let's see what else. Yeah, this is the mural in Barcelona. UNICEF. Free South Africa. This was a very famous work by Keith, sort of highlighting the disparity between the Black majority and the white minority in South Africa in their system of apartheid that existed at that time. He caught a lot of heat for this, but you know, he was not afraid to confront what he saw as wrong. So again, this is the other side of Crack is Whack, which has been newly restored, and this is the 35th anniversary of Crack is Whack. This is Keith at the Berlin Wall before it came down. I believe the wall came down while he was alive in 1989. But this was, you know, this was his sort of statement about the unity between East and West. And of course, ACT UP, which he was a huge supporter of and an advocate of. And a champion of. And of course, safe sex. This was the cover of a condom case. So Keith was very out front about safe sex and the use of condoms during a time when the HIV/AIDS virus was rampant. And there was so much, he just wanted to be really out front about it. And so this was kind of a cheeky way to do that. Resist. Again, this was a UNICEF benefit. Again, children were a huge part of Keith's he wanted to always do good things for kids. Yeah. So that, in a nutshell, it highlights some of the things that Keith did around activism. He became a famous artist in the 80s, and very different from, the people that came before him, like Andy. He wanted to use his fame. He didn't want to be famous for the sake of fame. He wanted to help. He wanted to do some, good while he was here. So that was really I think he felt a huge responsibility that he should do something good. He should do as much good as he could while he was here. And I think that was the basis and the foundation of his activism.
I mean, I think a lot of folks know Keith's work. It's like iconic. It's everywhere, seemingly nowadays, especially in New York City. And at the time, being on subway cars and out on the streets and out of galleries was a way to make it accessible to the people and spread these messages. I think that's one of the great things about Keith and part of his legacy. Related to his diagnosis and his activism as it related to his HIV diagnosis, can you talk a little bit about maybe how that legacy and spirit lives on with the work of the foundation and some connections to the work of Callen-Lorde particularly?
Well, at the time that Keith was diagnosed with HIV/AIDS, it was, unfortunately, it was a death sentence, and by the time he was diagnosed, many of his friends were sick. Many of his, comrades had passed. And he felt that it was his responsibility to be upfront and be vocal about the disease because there was a huge stigma at the time. And he wanted to try to quell the stigma, and he fought against that sort of feeling that was very prevalent at the time. It's interesting. When he was very sick at the end, and I've told this story many times to the folks at Callen-Lorde. He had a nurse. He had sort of round-the-clock nurses, but there's this one particular nurse who was a gay gentleman, and just really took an extra. He just had extra compassion, and he just took extra care of Keith in a way that the others did not. And for me, I think that is really what that particular experience and that story is what makes our connection to Callen-Lorde, our relationship. That really is the crux of it. It is being in a community and knowing how your community should be cared for. And I think that for me is what makes this partnership and this fellowship make complete sense, and it makes all the sense in the world, and it makes the partnership, I mean, a fantastic one.
I think, you know, that's been part of the ethos of Callen-Lorde, is that our medical providers reflect the communities we serve. And that's really at the basis of community health, that it's not outsiders, it's folks from the communities of the communities they serve providing care. And that can make all of the difference between feeling included or seeing yourself mirrored in your providers. And the health outcomes are directly related to that in so many ways. And this fellowship program is going to enable us to continue to train folks. So, you know, it's not just Callen-Lorde that is the place that folks can go to receive care, that this care should be available everywhere, and that everywhere should have the same sort of insights and compassions and experiences, and lack of barriers to care. And hopefully, you know, this is one step closer to being able to do that. So I know from everyone.
Our hope is that this is just the beginning. Our hope is that, you know, with the first two fellows, with Jamie and Brittany starting it off, that this becomes something that is, you know, it takes on a life of its own, becomes widespread. And like you said, it's not, it ends up not being just Callen-Lorde, it becomes widespread throughout. You know, you would think that medical care, you would think that folks that provide this care would automatically be compassionate. You would think that, you know, such intelligent people would have emotional intelligence. And unfortunately, it's not always the case. So our hope with this fellowship, what we are trying to achieve is more of that, more compassion and care, and again, not just Callen-Lorde. We want this, you know, to be a model for everyone.
I think we might have a few of the fellows, or the two fellows we have, Jamie and Brittany, as you mentioned, with us today, who might be able to hop on and speak about their experience or the application process and what drew them to it. I believe Brittany is here, and she is one of, hey, Brittany, how are you? If you want to introduce yourself, and Jamie's here as well, and to say hi to the folks here and talk a little bit about what drew you to the fellowship, and what your experience has been like so far.
So I'm Brittany. I use she and her pronouns. I'm one of the two fellows. I moved here from Atlanta just for this fellowship. I came across it super random. I thought it was too good to be true. And even now, sometimes I feel like it's still kind of too good to be true, because the experience that I have every day is just amazing. Like, I'm so grateful just for the foundation and for having us here, because, you know, in school, we don't learn these things. And I've been on the other side where I've sought medical care and I felt judged, or I just felt like I just wasn't taken serious. So it feels good to be in a place where, you know, we, like you said, we serve the community that we're part of, and it means a lot. So I'm just beyond grateful to be here, and thank you to the foundation and everyone who had a part of this, because it really means a lot.
Thank you, Brittany.
I guess it's me now. Hi, I'm Jamie. I use they, them pronouns. I'm the other Keith Haring fellow. This is the shirt that I wore to every interview. So it's my good luck Keith Haring shirt. Yeah, I have to just second everything that Brittany said. You know, it's an incredibly lucky place to be. The extra support that we get from being in a fellowship that centers LGBTQ plus healthcare is hard to describe. You know, every single day we get a little bit of extra education and attention, and I'll be able to carry it with me for the rest of my life, no matter where I end up. And, you know, hearing, I'm just a little emotional, hearing you talk about Keith's experience with the nurse, that really touched me. You know, that's the kind of care that we all deserve, and it's not the kind of care that we all get. So, it's incredibly meaningful that all of this comes from the Keith Haring Foundation. I mean, what a dream. Me and Brittany like pinch ourselves every single day. I can't wait to see where this fellowship goes and meet the next class and everything. And it's an incredible honor to be the first fellows. And I hope that, I know that me and Brittany will spend the rest of our lives using everything that we're learning to provide the kind of compassionate care that everybody deserves. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you both. I mean, you'll always be our first cohort of fellows, so you'll have that badge for life. And we're so thrilled to have you at our new Brooklyn clinic. First cohort in the new clinic, which is amazing, opening it in the middle of a pandemic and being able to still move forward and have you both join us in the middle of all of that was just insane. And we're just so glad that everything worked out and so grateful for the both of you and the care that you provide to our communities. So thank you. We'd like to open it up now for other folks if they have questions for Brittany or for Jamie or for Gil. We also have Fawn Krieger, who's program director at the Keith Haring Foundation, who's been instrumental in helping us move the program forward and being a main point of contact for us. Fawn is also an artist and has just been wonderful to work with. So Fawn is also here. And if there's anything you want to add in, Fawn, or if folks just want to type questions into the chat or use the raise the hand feature, and we can bring you in to ask your question.
Hi guys. Yeah, I'm happy to answer questions. And I second everybody. It's been a really beautiful collaboration. And I think, also very timely as we look at, now more than ever, the impact of healthcare inequities in the US. And, we're trying our best as a foundation to really make an impact in that area.
I think we've got one hand raised here. I'm going to invite Lisa to share a question.
Donnie, thank you. No, my hand is up. I've been trying to lower it, but it's not getting. But my name is Lisa Padilla. I am on the board of Callen-Lorde, she, her, hers. I am also a patient at Callen-Lorde, and I actually have a piece of art from Keith from a former client of mine who used to host him out in East Hampton. Trying to explain to people about the art is impossible because it's such a moving kind of, it's a lot of movement. There's no static in Keith's artwork. But to try to explain some of the things that he stood for is very, very easy. And I think that you have done credit to his memory, Gil, being a friend for so long, and to have this kind of gift for Callen-Lorde and to have the ability to have people participate in terms of learning how we handle and how we treat people with dignity in the medical field and let them go out into the world and share that is probably one of the most amazing gifts that Keith has done for us. So thank you for being his voice and his messenger for this. Thank you. Then thank you, Fawn, too.
Wow, thank you, Lisa. That is very moving. I think as I said at the Callen-Lorde event, I think it was last year. I'm here for my friend. I'm here to do him a favor. He didn't have enough life, unfortunately. So I'm really here just carrying out his wishes. And as Caitlin said earlier, she basically pointed out what the mission of the Haring Foundation was, and to add on to that, my personal mission is to be here when, to be a part of the end of AIDS. I mean, I realize how audacious that is, and I realize that, that there is some complacency around HIV/AIDS, especially now in the moment that we're in. But I think it's achievable, and I think I think this fellowship is it goes a long way in getting there.
There's an interesting question I wanted to speak to in the chat. William asked, where did the idea for the fellowship come from, and how and when did the foundation get involved? And this is a really good question, because I'm sure many people visiting are also representing organizations and thinking about how to get the resources and support to, for their staff, and to provide, care and advocacy for their communities. So every grants, relationship is very different. We had been funding Callen-Lorde with small annual grants every now and then beforehand. So we had an established relationship. And Donnie Roberts, who's in development at Callen-Lorde, and Wendy, the executive director, reached out to us and they said, hey, we have an idea. Can we meet? And we met, and they, were still forging what at the time was, becoming a fully fledged idea, but it was essentially the truest kernel of what you see today. And this was quite a number of years ago, maybe 4 or possibly even 5. And we then began to develop the idea of how this partnership could work. And Callen-Lorde submitted an application. And then there was a long, negotiation of how to really develop it collaboratively once it was approved.
Thank you, Fawn. I'm gonna, Blaine has their hand up. I'm gonna ask them to go ahead and ask their question.
I just wanted to first of all just congratulate everyone. I'm looking at the screen and I see these 4 beautiful faces, and I reflect back to when I was a member of ACT UP, and I was on the other end of Keith Haring's generosity. Also just getting emotional because we used to dance together on the dance floor at Paradise Garage. So it's really, really, I was at the Health Awards when the announcement was made, and I just lost it. I just was like, I just totally lost it. It was just like such a moment, just like that moment when AIDS will be gone, it will be a moment. But I just wanted to say that I've been on the other end of his generosity because he anonymously funded the ACT UP Boroughs Welcome protests, where we drove to Boroughs Welcome and had like IDs to get into the building, and threw out our banner out the window to fighting to make AZT accessible to all. I don't know if any, this is probably before your time, so you probably have to like do some research. This is like 1988, 89, right before he passed. I was also part of the committee to organize the ACT UP for Life party at Sound Factory, where Keith and Angel decided to body paint me as one of the statues for the performance that evening. So really, really a lot of emotions come up when we talk about Keith Haring and his big heart. That's the thing that comes to mind, is his big heart. And I think that it's important for especially our young people to know these stories. We talk about storytelling. Is it possible for us to have a forum where we can share our stories of our relationships, like people like myself with Keith Haring, so that we can inspire, even further inspire our youth to never underestimate their power.
Thank you, Blaine. Blaine's been one of our strongest advocates and has been on our community advisory board for many years, has made a lot of trips to Albany, which would have been in person today, but is now virtual, and is now on our board of directors. So that was so wonderful to hear, Blaine.
Thank you for that, Blaine. Thank you.
We've got just a couple of minutes left. If anyone else has a question they'd like to ask, we're also hoping to post this on our social channels and share it on the foundation page as well. So we'll have some more there. If folks have questions, they can comment there, and we'll try to write back with them. Again, I want to say thank you to everyone. Also to plug that we are, applications are open now for the next cohort of fellows that will start in fall of 2021. We're hoping to get another great applicant pool, and so grateful that Jamie and Brittany could join us, and can't wait to see what the future holds for the next cohort. Although it'll be sad to say goodbye to you, but no one ever really leaves Callen-Lorde. You'll be here forever. But
we look forward to, you know, inviting Jamie and Brittany to the studio as well once this COVID thing subsides a bit. We, you know, very much look forward to bringing you into the space. You know, again, I've said earlier that, you know, I get to be here by myself because I'm the only one working from here. Everyone else is working from home. But you know, it's a very, very special place that has it has a vibe. It's a vibe, and we look forward to hosting you guys.
I also just want to shout out to Catherine Trissillo and to Sally Gervin, director and coordinator of the fellowship. Without their, you know, deep commitment to this project, we wouldn't be where we are. So.
I'd also like to shout out the board members, the board of directors of the Haring Foundation, who, you know, in their wisdom saw the long-term good. Obviously, the immediate return is fantastic, but you know, they had the vision, and I'm really happy that it was unanimously approved by the board. So shouts to them.
Yes, all thanks and all praise to the Keith Haring Foundation Board of Directors and everyone else who made this possible. It's, you know, Fawn touched on it a little bit, but it's long been a dream of ours and part of our strategic plan to create training programs to expand LGBTQ health and wellness beyond our doors, and to have more of a global impact. And this is an incredible step in making that dream a reality. So thank you both so much. Thanks, Jamie and Brittany. Can't wait to see who comes next. Applications are open now. So check out our website. And thanks to everyone for joining today and participating in our first virtual advocacy day.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Goodbye, everyone.